Hey, what's going on, Boom Squad? It is Scottie Hobbs. I'm excited to be here for you guys on Monday morning. I'm 5 minutes late, so I apologize for that first and foremost. But I think the reason for being late will tie into a little bit about what I want to share with you guys this morning. So, I have to confess to you guys first and foremost, I never do live videos or videos for my YouTube channel until after I get my workout done. Now, today's circumstances, I haven't done my workout yet, so this is a first for me. Not a first, but one of the first times for me to be doing that. But I'm excited to be here and talk about vision for you guys. I'm just going to share a couple things with you guys first and foremost, so I can grab your attention and be like, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy and what he has to share about belief. First of all, I'm a college dropout. I'm an ex-alcoholic cocaine addict. I used to play music. I met my wife at Warped Tour in 2005. And so I'm like the definition of that guy who's probably not going to be very successful with his life. And the things I want to share with you about that is, as we go into belief, I'll share a little bit about my story, but my story, and why I'm so passionate about what I do as a coach has to do with part of the reason that I was 5 minutes late today. I just dropped my oldest daughter off at the school bus. She the bus comes like right at 8, so I drop her off every single morning and then watch her take off, and she's 13 years old. She's in 8th grade. But one of the biggest reasons that I really went all in when this business became difficult, and we're in a team page here, so I'll talk about how hard this business can be from time to time, is a school bus story. You may have heard it, you may have not heard it, but I'll go through that story real briefly as well so you can understand it. But when I tell that school bus story, I want you to know that that story is about my daughter that I just dropped off just 3 or 4 minutes ago. So, with that being said, going from cocaine addict, drinking, dropping out of college, all of that stuff. I'm just about to hit my 114th month of Success Club 10 consecutive. We're part of the Legacy Club. We've been elite 5 times. I have 2 PS coaches, 3 downline coaches that have hit the Million Club, the Legacy Club as well. And so, and we got a coach right now who's been in the top 10 most of the year. She is 15 right now, though, Beth Isbell. So we have a lot of incredible things that have happened inside of our business. But what I want you guys to understand is it went from that life that I shared to what it is today. And the biggest shift that happened with that is, yes, when I decide something, I'm a hard worker and I put in the hard work and the discipline. But what I want you also to know is that like 95% of that is from mindset, belief, and vision. And I know vision's one of the topics for this week, so I'll talk mostly about mindset. But guys, what I want you guys to write down right now, if you're taking any notes, is yes, it is possible for me. Just write it down. Like I have what it takes. I am worthy of accomplishing whatever it is that I have as a goal. And I believe that if God places a goal or a vision or a dream inside of your life, that there are the ways, the means, the people, and the resources to make that happen once you believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself. So I want you guys to write that down. Okay, it cut out for a minute, but I want you guys to write that down and know that it's possible for you guys. So for me, getting started, guys, I want you to just remember I fell in love with P90X back in 2010 when I committed to 90 days and I lost 38 pounds. I had this new energy. I had this newborn confidence. You know, when you make wrong choices in your life or go through a certain number of failures, no matter how many it is, might be going from a Christian family to doing drugs and dropping out of college. It might be whatever it might be. You begin to slowly lose confidence and belief in yourself. And it happens to almost every single one of us. So what P90X did for me in 2010 is it sparked that fire and it reignited inside of me a sense of confidence. Like I started to build confidence in myself again. Like, oh, I can commit to something and follow through with it. So I lost 38 pounds. I fell in love with the process. I'll just tell you, like I fell in love with people being like, oh my gosh, have you seen, we would go to like Christmas party with friends. They go, oh my gosh, have you seen Scottie's transformation photo? And we would pull it out and I talk about it and what are you doing? And I would, I'm doing P90X and this is what I'm feeling. And like, you should do it too. And like, I fell in love with that process. The thing is, however, is I, yes, fell in love with that process, but I also, about the same time, found out about coaching. And I thought it was the biggest scam in the world, because I put my P90X pictures, my before after picture, into the P90X like page. It would be equivalent today to you guys putting your pictures into the Beachbody champion page and being like, hey, I'm not a coach or anything, but I did the P90X workout and check out these results. What happened was about 30, 40 coaches sent me scripts, copy and pasted scripts saying like, oh, you should come talk with my upline and me and come to this coach sneak peek and you would, come join our team. And I was like, what the freak is this? Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard about. And I said that because like half of the messages were the exact same thing. They were scripted things. And I was like, holy crap, whatever that Team Beachbody coaching thing is, like, I'm never going to be a part of that. Like, that's the dumbest thing. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And I actually wrote on my Facebook page, like, if any of those Beachbody coaches could actually convince me to be a coach, I would destroy it. And that's the words that I used. Now, I think that leads to one of the things I want to share today. I said I would destroy it, or I would crush it as a coach. Because why? Number one, I believed in myself. I believed that if I committed to something and followed through with it with discipline, I could be successful at it. So 8 months went by. About that time as well, I'm also curious. I'm like, what the heck is that thing? And so I watch YouTube videos. I see Lindsay Matway's video, her transformation, telling her story about her daughter, London, being born prematurely and the debt that she incurred. And she shared that she was slowly paying off her debt, and she left bartending to be home with her daughter, and she was helping people with these P90X workouts. And I was like, in my head, it sparked something like, wow, like the only reason I work 12-hour days and every Saturday, the only reason that my wife is working nights is because of our couple $100,000 mortgage. Like, it's too expensive for us. And so in my mind, it like started spinning, because one thing about me is I've always had goals and dreams. I wrote at my job where I work 12-hour days every Saturday. I wrote down on a piece of paper, on the notepad that I had next to my desk, how to have $1 million in my bank. I wrote these goals: $1 million in my bank account by the age of 50, and no debt. Like, my house is paid off, I have no debt, and $1 million in the bank, and I retire at 50. I had written that down. And what I did is I began to do all the numbers back then, and like, okay, if I work this many overtime hours, if my pay goes from this amount to this amount over the next 20 years, and if I put this much to my mortgage, and I wrote it all out. And here's the thing, guys, none of the options at my job worked. Like, none of those things added up to where that was possible for that dream. So I began to do things, like I began to buy and sell things on Craigslist. I began to, I ran a service department where I previously ran a CNC machine where I used AutoCAD, and I drew things on this program, and then I cut it on a laser at work. So I took those skills I learned at work, and I started making custom signs. Like, it would be like a sign for a cabin or a home that you could put above your garage or whatever. And I made a Facebook like page. I did Craigslist posts. And I started to do all these little extra things to help me realize that one goal and dream. I'm doing all those things while I know about this Beachbody coach thing, but I didn't do the Beachbody coach thing because I thought it was a scam and gross because of the way that I was approached with it. I know this is I'm telling a little bit more stories than I wanted to tell, but I think they're all important. So I, at that time, just kept doing my little side jobs, working 12 hours a day from 5 in the morning to 5 at night. I would get home at 5. My wife goes to work at 3. She gets home at 11:30. Well, 8 months passed. My wife, we have our third daughter, and I remember it's about 18 days after my third daughter was born. I remember getting to work early in the morning, just before 5. I had a habit of picking up the mail at our little lockbox at the end of our cul-de-sac. I would take it to work because, like, guys, get this. Like, I want you to see this picture. I go to work at 5, get back at 5. When I'm home, I have 2 little girls. Now I have 3 little girls, ages 4, 2, and 6 weeks old. My wife's at work. Like, I didn't have time really to sit down and do all the bills, so I would do that on my lunch break. So that's why I would pick it up in the morning and I would take it to work. I'll do my little spreadsheet, do the numbers there. pay the bills and all that stuff. So that particular morning, April 11th, 2011, I grabbed the bills from the mailbox, went to work. I'm there a little early. I start opening them. I throw all the junk mail in the bin there. And I sit to go through the mail, and it's our Blue Cross statement, the hospital bill, the doctor bill, the anesthesiologist bill. There's like an ear doctor bill there. And I remember sitting there in my office that morning, and I felt like my cubicle just started to spin around me. I felt this heavy weight on my shoulders. And I don't know if you guys have felt this feeling before, but it felt overwhelming. Like I had no control. Like no matter what I would do, like I just couldn't get a grasp on things. And it's because all those thoughts started coming. Like, do I have to go back to work? Like, do I have to go back to school? I mean, because I dropped out of college, remember? Do I need to get a second full-time job? And my wife just stays home with the kid. Does my wife need to go to school or get off the night shift and work days at a higher paying job so that we can, and then put the kids in daycare maybe? I was trying to figure out like how we were going to make this work, because we're already paycheck to paycheck, and then all these doctor bills were like $3,000. And that morning when I was sitting in that cubicle, I realized that's the day that I signed up as a Beachbody coach. And I signed up that day because my fear of not knowing how to take care of my family became greater than my fear that I would fail as a coach, or that I would have to do some weird thing that went against my values. So that's the day that I went all in. And I remember getting on the phone with my coach, Lindsay, and here's where I really want to get into the belief part. I got on the phone with Lindsay. Guys, we're so broke at this time. I don't have internet in my house. I don't have a laptop, and I don't have a smartphone, and I signed up for an online business. Okay, I did my getting started right call from my neighbor's home office 2 houses down. I used his landline to do my getting started right call because my service was like super crappy on my little flip phone. And I'm talking to Lindsay, and Lindsay, she's like, what are your goals? I tell her, I need to make $10,000 a year with Beachbody. And I told her $10,000 because $10,000 was about what we needed to be able to have my wife come home from work. So my wife made like $12,000, $13,000 at her night job at the hotel, and then we paid about $2,000 in babysitter for the time when I was at work and she was at work. So I tell her I need to make $10,000. Lindsay tells me, Scottie, I can't promise you $10,000, but I promise that your income will be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you change. So one thing happened right there. I made a decision. I will change as many lives as I possibly can so that my wife can come home from work and we can sit down together as a family at night, eat dinner together, play sports together, and do all those things that I envisioned that a family life would be like. I didn't envision our first 5 years of marriage, me working in the mornings, her at nights, and we raise our kids separately. So I tell her, okay, I'm going to change as many lives as I possibly can because I want to earn that $10,000. I know now that my income is going to be a direct reflection of the number of lives that I change, so I'm committed to that. And I'm a numbers guy, so I tell Lindsay, I say, okay, how many lives do I need to change? And she says, Scottie, you need to hit Success Club 10 every single month. And I say, done. What's Success Club 10? And she says, that means you need to help. And get this, guys, this is one of those back in the day stories. Back in the day, we didn't have challenge packs. You got 1 Success Club point for a Shakeology Home Direct. And that's the only product we really had for auto ship. And number 2, you could get 2 points if you had a new coach on Shakeology Home Direct. So I could either find 10 new customers to hit Success Club on Shakeology Home Direct, or 5 coaches. So here's what I want you guys. So I immediately began building my team because for me, it was much easier to find 5 coaches than it was to find 10 customers. I hope that makes sense. But I made that decision. A few days pass, and I made that decision in April of 2011. So when I say I've hit Success Club 10 for 113 months, it's because I've hit Success Club 10 every month since I started in April of 2011. So as I get started on this journey, it's only a couple days, and I'm sitting in my office, and I see a bunch of coaches on a cruise ship in the Caribbean doing a workout with Tony Horton, and I was so pissed off. Guys, I was so mad. But there's something that happens. When you get upset about something, you can either do 2 things. You can make a disempowering thought from it, or you can have an empowering thought from it. And this all goes back to your mindset. For me, when Lindsay got back, I said, okay, what was that? Like, you guys are with my hero in the Caribbean, in the sun, and working out with Tony Horton. And I'm sitting in this cubicle, miserable and upset. How do I go on that trip? Like, what was that? And she said, oh, it's a Success Club trip. You know, the goal of Success Club 10 we talked about? If you hit that every single month, you're going to earn an invite to that. So what I did is I found out where that next Success Club trip was. It was going to be Atlantis in the Bahamas, 2012. My wife and I never had a good honeymoon because of our poorness. So I was like, okay, I'm already going to hit Success Club 10. I've already decided that. I'm going to earn my $10,000. I'm going to go on this Success Club trip to Atlantis, and I'm going to reward my wife with that trip as well. So I put up, one of the things I want you guys to get a note from this is I put up a screensaver. I had dual computer screens in my little cubicle. Both of them had the Atlantis towers, like those towers with those buildings with the tower at Atlantis. I put those up on my screen so I could see it every day, and I knew that I was going to go on that trip. So we get started like that. That's how my journey gets started. I've shared 113 months since we've hit Success Club 10. What I want to share with you guys right here, though, is at about 8 months in, I was egg freaking exhausted because I'm still working 12 hours a day. I'm not going to do my whole sacrifices spiel, but I quit playing softball, I quit playing video games, and every spare minute that I had that I was not with my kids, I was building my business. And so that pretty much meant I would put them to bed at 8:30 to midnight every single night. I would work on my business. I would go to bed at midnight. I would get up at 4:30 and get back to work for 8 months straight, including working Saturdays. I used to nap in my truck, or my vehicle at that time was a car. I used to nap in my car for an hour during my, from 12 to 1 on my break. I was working from 12 to 1 on my Beachbody business. So 12 to 1 every day, I worked on my Beachbody business. I would get home from work. I would take care of my 3 kids by myself. Remember, they're 4, 2, and 6 weeks old. And then I would put them to bed at 8, about 8:30, I could get started on my work. And I could never be on live calls because they were at 7, but I would turn it on loud in the living room so I could hear it. And I would work 8:30 to midnight. And about 8 months in, I'm exhausted. Like I'm broke. And I remember I got sick with the man cold. You guys know what most of you guys are women in here. I got the man cold. I was nearly dying, and I stayed in bed I missed 3 days of work, and it was a Friday now. And I remember my wife saying, hey, Scottie, if you get out of bed and shower and get dressed and go outside, maybe go pick up Keena from the school bus, you'll start to feel better. And so I do that. I get up, shower, get dressed, start walking down our cul-de-sac to pick up my daughter from the school bus. And I'm walking down the cul-de-sac towards the school bus. I'm about halfway there. The school bus pulls up to the edge of our cul-de-sac and stops. I'm only about halfway there. And I see the doors to this school bus open. I remember hearing it like yesterday, the sound of the air or whatever it is when those doors open. And I see this little girl step into the doorway of that bus where the little stairs are, and she puts her little hands on the rails, and she looks up and she sees me. And in that moment, like, a smile comes across her face, and I just stop in my tracks, and tears just start streaming down my face. And I'm like, it just stops me. And I stop in that moment, and I'm like, man, like, how many of these moments have I missed? Like, how many will I continue to miss? Like, the joy of her seeing her dad pick her up at the school bus for the first time. And how many will I continue to miss if I don't push through this pain? Because I was exhausted. I was at the point, I would never quit Beachbody, but I was at the point of like, okay, like, I don't need to like I can just casually do this. I'm making good side income now. I could bring my wife home now, but maybe I don't need to do this Success Club 10 thing. Maybe I don't need to go be the all-out kind of guy that I am, and I can just kind of casually do this. I was at that point because I was so exhausted and tired. But when I saw my daughter that moment, I realized a couple of things. I shared one with you. How many of these moments have I missed, and how many more will I continue to miss if I don't push through this pain? Because, guys, what I want you to, I never envisioned me doing this. A lot of times you guys have seen me as a full-time coach for 8.5 years. That was never a vision of mine as I started. My vision was to bring my wife home, be able to spend evenings together as a family. But in that moment, I realized I didn't want to miss any dance performances, soccer practices, soccer games, school activities. I wanted to be present for every moment that was possible for me. The second thing that I realized was, and that's the day that I decided and had belief that I could make this a full-time income for myself. The second thing that I realized in that moment was that if I could do it, a college dropout, an ex-drug addict, someone that had very low self-esteem as he started his P90X journey, if I could do that and make this a full-time job, that I could inspire, mentor, teach anybody how to build a business and really go after what their goals and dreams are in this life. And that's where my real purpose came in as a coach. So what I want to share with you guys, and that's my daughter that I just dropped off and made me 5 minutes late today, because I'm staying true to that. And that's why I built this business, is not so that I can get on here and have you guys go, oh, that's awesome, like, good for you, we're proud of you. I do this business so I can spend time with we have 5 kids now, by the way. So with that being said, I'm going to share a couple things about belief. Number one, guys, there's all the training in the world. Like, I have like 3,000 YouTube videos. I know your uplines and diamonds have tons of videos. We have a national wake up call in 35 minutes. I've got like 3,000 videos that you could call training, I guess, on my YouTube channel. All of these things, right? We have corporate mentors. We have Carl Deichler teaching us on social media how to be an example of a great coach just by his presence. So, like, all the training is there. So what's the missing piece? And it's belief. It's 100% belief. And I know our coach Beth shared, like, you got to have belief in the company, the products. You have to have belief in the compensation plan, that this business works for anybody, and you got to have belief in yourself. So we got to have those belief things, right? But I'm going to share a couple belief experiences that I had. Number one, the Atlantis picture. So once you have that belief in, like, of what you know, what that goal and that dream is you want to accomplish, you've got to get it concrete inside of your mind. And I'm gonna give you guys just a quick tip. I listened to 3 books. How is my belief so solid? Yes, I knew I was a hard worker already, but how was my belief so solid in that first year? I didn't have a smartphone. I wasn't distracted by TikTok and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and all those things. Yes, I got on Facebook and I learned how to use it at that time. But I had a Nokia MP3 player smartphone that I could put audio onto a little SD card, put it in, and I could listen to it. So my phone was not a distraction for me. My phone was something that filled my mind with even more belief. So I downloaded Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Next Door, and The Slight Edge, and a series called 90 Days of Excellence by Craig Holiday. I downloaded those onto my phone. It was in my pocket. I had a headset. One earpiece was in all day long, and the other one was out so I could hear if anybody asked me questions. And I listened to those books, those audios, over 60 times in my first year. So I can literally, like, say to you guys, like, how did I build a 6-figure business in 14 months and have both my wife and I walk away from our jobs in June of 2012? Because I spent 99% of the hours that I had in a day that were put towards my business in growing my mindset and my belief. I listened literally to those audiobooks 12 hours a day. And I say this humbly, but who's the multimillionaire that lives in this small little neighborhood in Idaho Falls that nobody knows that they're that person? The person that studied what those books and those philosophies. And so belief, it came from the belief of listening to those audiobooks. You got to work 10 times harder on yourself than you do on your business. So I put up the Atlantis pictures. That was one of the main things. But here's a little story I want to share with you guys that really helped me understand something. I went to Summit 2012. I had the opportunity to speak there, sharing that we were leaving our jobs on the main stage. Scared the living crap out of me. But it was thrilling all at the same time, because I'd never done public speaking or talked in front of anybody. But I'm watching one of the sessions and somebody from corporate grabs me out of the audience, and I'm like not up in the front or anything. I'm not elite. I'm not like, I'm still a diamond coach. By the way, I had a 6-figure business before I went to Star Diamond. That's a whole nother topic on building volume. But I as I was sitting there, someone grabbed me and took me behind the stage, and back there is Lindsay, and they put us in like alphabetical order, and there was 8 people. It was like Melissa McAllister, Janelle Summers, my coach, Lindsay Matway, it was me, it was Josh Spencer, and I think Wayne Wyatt, and we're back there, and I'm like, what is this for? And Lindsay's like, this is for the Success Club 10 All-Stars. You hit Success Club 10 for 12 months. You get to walk across the stage. And I look at Lindsay and I say, there's only 8 of us there. And I'm like, where's the rest of us? And she's like, it's only us. Like, we're the ones that did it. And I get a little emotional thinking about that, because had Lindsay told me that only 8 people in the entire company would hit Success Club 10 every single month from 2011 to 2012, I wouldn't have believed it was possible for me. No matter how hard my work ethic was with my past failures, I wouldn't have thought that was possible for me. But because she didn't say, like, if Lindsay would have said, hey, only 8 people are going to hit, when we talked on our GSR, only 8 people are going to hit Success Club 10, so maybe shoot for it. See if it's something that you can do. She said, Scottie, you can hit Success Club 10. Like, I believe that's possible. That's going to help you go towards your goal. And so I believed that. I had nothing else to gauge my belief on if that was possible. I didn't have numbers to look at. I just had Lindsay's belief in me, my wife's belief in me, my own belief in myself that I could do that. So I want you guys to take note of that. Like, sometimes you have to shut off what you see everybody else doing, what the world says, what the number says of this is how many people can be successful versus this is how many people can't be successful. Because once you have that, that's a limiting belief that's going to keep you from achieving your goals. So decide what you want, and then see the examples of what is possible. For me, what was possible was my coach Lindsay was hitting like Success Club 20 every month. So my belief was if she could hit 20, I could hit 10. So that's a small example I want to share with you guys about belief on you have to have that solid belief and then put in the work behind it. Another one I want to share with you guys on belief, and then I'll dip out of here because we've gone already 25 minutes, is we were Elite Top 10 the next year. I didn't even know how elite points worked. Our team was able to end number 16 at the end of that second year of 2012 without me even saying we're going to be a top 10 team, or this is how points work and this is how points don't work. We were just focused on working on the mission, transforming ourselves, having goals and dreams, and helping other people realize those. So the next year we end at 16 without trying, and I'm like, okay, we're going to be in the top 5. Next year we're a top 5 team. What I want to share with you guys is we didn't have the team possible to do that. Like, I learned what the numbers were, I learned what I had to do, I learned what the people did before. And all of the numbers, we didn't do it in 2012. We would have been way off. Even though we were at 16, we would have been way off. And so I knew the numbers, I knew what had to happen, but I just, on every YouTube video that I would do, every Facebook Live I would do every single day, I would just say, hey, we're a top 10 team. This year we're going to end at number 5. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And literally, guys, because I had that goal and that dream, and I believed in it, like I had no doubt that was not going to happen, all of the right people came into our life and into our business at the right time to make that happen, and we ended the year at number 4. And when you hit the top 10, when you're in the top 10, they send a corporate rep out to your local Super Saturday. So they come out and he's talking about it, presents me with this basket for Italy because we won the top 10 trip to Italy. Bam. All my friends are there, local coaches. And I remember my friends like, oh my gosh, like, how does it feel? Like, this is, and this, remember, this is like April now. Like, this is like it's already happened, right? They announced it in January, mid-January sometime. Now it's Super Saturday. And they're like, how does that feel? And it was so crazy for me because, this is going to sound weird, but I wasn't excited at the Super Saturday. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, we're being celebrated. It was like a normal day in my life. And here's why. Because every day for the past more than 365 days, I envisioned what it would feel like to be announced our team Dynasty Strong as a top 10 team, and to be told that we've won the trip to Italy. So when that day actually happened, when that was announced, it was just like I'd already experienced that day over 365 times. So it was like it wasn't like, this is surprising. It's because I already believed it every single day for 365 days. I envisioned it as if it had already happened. I had that burning desire for that, and then I put in the work, and God lined the rest up. And the last thing that I want to share with you guys as I go, to help you solidify this, I'm going to reiterate a couple things and then tell you guys something about Brendan Bouchard. Number one, I want you guys to know, as I started, remember, I had a solid, concrete goal. I had a burning desire to earn $10,000. That was the goal. The other goal was Success Club 10. Find 5 people to help every single month. The second thing was there was a why or a reason behind that. What was I going to do with that $10,000? And that $10,000 was I was going to bring my wife home from work so that when I got home from work at 5, we could sit down together, eat dinner as a family, and play sports together. Last night we played football in the front yard. So that was my goal, and that was my reason. That was what was important to me. So make sure that you have your goal set, your solid goal, and then the reason or the why behind it, and make it a burning desire. Next, you have to envision it as if it's already happened. I have countless other examples, but I'm not going to tell you all of those. So you have to envision it as if it's already come to pass and already happened every single day. Some of the tips I shared with you, I put the up on my screensaver, was the Atlantis thing. So you have to envision what that's like every single day. Now here's a story I want to tell you guys. I remember going to a Brendan Bouchard event. This was probably 2012, late 2012, maybe in the summer. We're at the book signing after going to his event. I went to his a couple of his different events, and at the one, we're doing a book signing. And during that 3-day event, he had talked about how he had built, at the time, it was like 7 6-figure businesses in it was like a year's amount of time. He built 7 6-figure businesses in a year's amount of time. So I go up to Brendan, we get our picture taken, and I'm like, Brendan, what's the difference between the person that builds 1 6-figure business or 7 like you have, and the person that doesn't? And he says, here's the thing. He's like, we all have these great ideas, goals, dreams, visions, ideas for this business, right? For a 6-figure business. He's like, the difference between the two people are the people that go on to achieve it. They put those ideas out into the universe and into the world all of the time, in conversations, one-on-one conversations, on social media, on YouTube videos. They talk about those goals and those ideas. And what happens is the universe and God then align people that put those ideas out into the universe together. He brings them together through the law of attraction. And those people go on together and build those businesses and those 6-figure businesses and put those ideas together and make it happen. So that's when I really, that's why I have 3,000 YouTube videos, is every time I have an idea, literally, I just get on video and I just talk about that idea. I don't think it through and be like, is this a good idea? Is this not a good idea? I just have an idea and I put it out into the universe. And I believe a lot of the success that we've had, a lot of the great people that we've attracted into our life, are because I talk so openly about all of these ideas that come to me. And what I want you guys to know is you have great ideas as well. But I think a lot of times we just hold on to those ideas and try to make everything perfect and line up. So I want you guys to really decide what it is that you want, and then believe with 100% all of your heart and mind and soul that it's possible for you. Because I'm going to leave you with this once again. I don't believe that if you've had a goal or a dream placed inside of your heart, whatever it is, retire your husband, pay off your house, buy your dream house, put your kid in that dance class that's too expensive. None of those goals have been placed in your mind or your soul or your heart, I believe, without God placing them there. And if God placed them there, that means there is a way for you to be able to achieve that goal. There's a way. There's people, resources, and there's the way. So the only missing piece is the resources, the people, and all of that are there. The opportunity to bring those people together is there with Team Beachbody. The only missing piece is you have to believe. You have to believe that it's possible for you and believe that those people are out there. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I could talk forever, but I hope you guys have an incredible rest of your week. Enjoy the National Wake Up Call, and I want to see you living your best life. We'll see you guys later.